the production team is doing the stuff in the background, so don't beat yourself up.
Oh, it's good. Welcome, everyone, to the Taboo Show with me, April Thomas, and my co-host, Ronald M. Allen. So today we are going to be talking about Shanquella. Good evening. Get rid of that music.
Good evening.
Good evening. So, well, you go first and introduce yourself. I always mess that up. So you go first and introduce yourself.
Well, again, with managing change, I bring the psychology, counseling, all around managing life's changes. I primarily work with immigrants, as I am an immigrant to the United States. Tonight's discussion, though, April is going to lead off because it is a very poignant discussion, and we're going to really be very broad with our intent to bring some fresh perspectives.
Right.
So, April, take it away.
So today we're talking about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. Shanquella Robinson was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful woman who was unalived in Los Cabos, Mexico, a year ago. Well, it's going on. Yeah, it's still a year ago. It was in October of 2022. Yeah.
Yep.
So we are going to be kind of discussing how it happened. Why is it that we don't have justice for her? And, how can we prevent this from happening in the future? Things like that. So do you want me to go
April,
into...
there's a bit of a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. There's a bit of a surprise. When people think of African Americans finding their demise, many people will automatically feel that it's a white person or the white system, society's system, that's victimized us. And this is why we're choosing this discussion, because it really does play into our psychology, how we see the world. And in some respects, now that more African Americans have access to a better standard of living, we want to ask some questions. How are they bringing along their ancestral richness and utilizing these new opportunities, which more and more a broader and deeper population of African Americans? And I have an issue with that term as well, by the way, so we'll have to do another program for that.
Yeah, another topic.
But with the young lady in question, we really do need to broaden our understanding of a very successful businesswoman at a very young age, and perhaps not utilizing, I mentioned earlier about the ancestral wealth that some of us have forgotten about, not using those tenets of survival. That's why I appreciate April bringing this conversation to the table.
There's a lot to discuss when it comes to the case.
Tell us, give us some background.
So this happened in October of 2022. Shanquella was invited on a vacation trip by her best friend. His name was Khalil Cook. He invited her on this trip, and I don't believe she was friends with the others, as in like how we would think of a friend. They're more acquaintances. The only person she was really friends with was Khalil. Khalil and her had a long relationship of traveling together. He traveled with her family many times. The way that this plays out, I feel like any person can fall into this. Like I can't get mad at her for not seeing any red flags. I'm sure that there were red flags, but the way that it was played out, I feel like anybody could have fell down this rabbit hole. So here's her friend who she's traveled with many times. He's been all around her family. He knows all her family. From what I can understand, he's pretty much calling her mom his mom, like they're close. Um, he invites her on this trip. They're going to
Hmm.
Mexico for a weekend. I think it's supposed to be either 3 or 4 days. I think they left. I think they arrived on a Friday. They're supposed to leave on a Monday. And she gets there. What's
Hmm.
interesting is she got there first, and but she wasn't there alone. There was another person there who me and my viewers believe that it was Nazir Wiggins. He's one of the Cabo Six, as they've been nicknamed now. Um, he was. We believe that he was the one that was there first with her. But when I'm going to post the videos of when I discussed this topic. When we went through, we kind of saw a lot of like, I don't think she really knew him. She kind of stayed off to herself. It seems like she got there early and she was just enjoying the villa by herself. He was on one side and she was on the other, and the cook was there. So there's a lot. I could go into this for long. But I know you probably have some questions already. But there's a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot of details in this
Well,
case.
well, well, you said some interesting. Yes, absolutely. You said some interesting points. Number one, you said she brought her own chef.
No, no, no. The chef.
Is
Okay,
that
so
what
the
you said?
villa.
A
No, no,
cook?
no, 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 no. The chef was provided when you rented the villa, or they hired the chef. I should say they hired the chef. So
Ah,
that was with the villa. That was yeah, yeah.
okay,
That
okay,
wasn't her.
okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. So, what in bringing her friend, her male companion? What could we say that he was a companion? Did they have a relationship?
No, they did not have a relationship. He was literally just a friend. She had a boyfriend. He stayed back at home. And I kind of have issues with that. But he stayed at home for whatever reason. He had to work, whatever. We don't know. I'm not going to judge. I don't know. I kind of feel like if he was there with her, that wouldn't have happened. That's my gut feeling. I think that they wouldn't have played the game that they played with
You
her if he was there.
Now let's put her maturity in perspective. Here's a young woman, 25 years old, has hair products, a line of hair products, has a beauty salon, is doing some very creative business interests.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does she not understand the times that we live in, that being so young and having access by creating it herself, that she might have been vulnerable to anybody's intent? Her boyfriend, who did not come with her.
hmm I feel like the relationship she had with Khalil, I feel like she felt safe with, what I'm saying. This is, and I get that part. Like this is my friend. This is my best friend. He would never do something like this to me. Like that. There's a deep betrayal that happened here. And that's why I said, like,
Yes,
I would have felt that too.
yes,
Yes, then you go back to her gut instincts. Like, yes, we always have that gut instinct, and sometimes we feel like, okay, am I being crazy? Am I being nuts? Or I'm gonna look so crazy if I just back out of this trip last minute. And I think we all kind of fall prey to that, thinking that, okay, I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to look like an idiot. I don't want to be over the one that's over dramatic or overthinking things. Because let's just say, like we had spoken about before, let's just say at the airport, her gut instinct was like, no, something's wrong. And she followed through and like just said, you know what, screw it, I don't even care about a plane ticket. She turned around and went back home. Her family would still have her today. Um, Khalil will probably be mad at her, but you know
Right.
what?
Right.
I'd rather him be mad at her than what happened to her. And maybe something else would happen later on where she'll start to really see
Right.
his true
Exactly.
colors,
Yes.
but it didn't, everybody, especially women, we felt we don't want to, for example, like a guy, there's a story of a girl who a guy had invited her out to a date. He said, well, meet me at my house. And her gut instinct was
Hmm.
telling her not to go inside his house. And she didn't want to seem rude. And she went in, and it
Right.
was, we're not going to go because that's a whole nother
Ah.
show, but it was horrific. And she survived, but it was horrific
Sorry.
what
Yeah.
happened to
Yeah.
her. But again, it's her
Okay.
gut instinct. And she said, I didn't want
And
to be rude. Yeah.
so here's another question then. Was this a planned trip that she had possibly rolled out new products, reached new revenue, and even her parents would have said, take some time out, go down, enjoy? Or was this a uh, last of the minute, spontaneous, oh, let's go down to Mexico?
Mm. That's a good question because um I don't know. I don't know if it was planned out on her end. It sounds like she knew about it. I think she did know about it ahead of time. Like she did know about it ahead of time. Um, and the group they travel a lot. They were traveling every year, a few times a year to different places. They've been to Mexico before. It didn't see it. There was nothing out of
Hmm.
the normal for this to happen. Like there's nothing out of the normal. It was really, yeah. I I can't blame her for going on the trip. I can't. That she didn't do anything wrong,
Do
and
you
I
do you
like. Mhm. Sorry.
Right? Please go ahead. No, no. She didn't do anything wrong, and it
She
wasn't
did. Yeah.
necessarily planned. But remember, at that age, 25, you're still very much driven by the hormones and not just
Mhm.
the libido, rather the
Mhm.
excitement of going to a new place and seeing new things and experiencing those things. I know for me, I certainly did. I loved to travel. My parents sent me all over. Um,
Wow.
at the same time, though, I was very cautious. I was a very cautious
Mhm.
individual. And
Mm.
I did have that gut instinct of being careful of when and where I was at any given time. Is this, do you think then, or another question actually I had about once they got to the villa. So it's a private home. It's
Mhm.
obviously somewhat secluded. People don't want to
Mhm.
be
It's
hearing the
secluded.
toilet flush
Yeah.
next door.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Yes.
secluded.
Yes.
Did anyone hear? Did anyone hear any escalation of
No.
confrontation? Did anyone see? We watch and observe. When you walk into a room, 80% of your communication is observation. Did anyone see any behavior by the other parties towards her that could have indicated a threat?
Okay. So the concierge. There's a concierge for the resort for the villa, and he
Mhm.
did notice
Mhm.
some things that they kind of like they were treating her different. So, and I could tell you what his
Okay.
statement was from, and this is me. I'm pulling this from memory, guys. So bear with me. Um, when the day that they were to come, he thought that they were all coming in the evening. He didn't know that Shanquella and that other person was at the resort already. I'm sorry, resort at the villa already. He thought that they were all coming together as one in one group. The rest of the group, so five of them, it's Dejanay Jackson, Khalil Cook, Malik, and I forgot the other one. It's five of them. It's two girls and I believe three guys or two guys that came. So it was four. I have to get the notes. It's in my other video, but the
Okay.
rest of the group came. So basically, all together, let's say should be seven of them, right? Including Shanquella. There's one guy already there, and then
Okay.
there's four that came together. They called the concierge when their plane landed and said, "Look, we want to go shopping first before we go into the villa. We want to pick up some stuff, so we'll be heading there later." He said, "Okay, cool, no problem." About he said about an hour
Right.
or sometime before that they were coming, or when he knew that they were on their way to the villa, he decided to go to the villa and make sure that everything was being prepared for them. That the chef was cooking, and because the chef came ahead of time. And so when he got there, the chef was there, but then this other guy was there. The guy
Right.
who he described fits a description for Nazir Wiggins, right? Um, he when he spoke to the cook
Oh,
said, "Oh, well,
the boyfriend.
the he's not a boyfriend. No, he's not a boyfriend. She's not a boyfriend or girl. There's no romantic thing with her with any of these people. That's
Oh,
yeah, yeah. There's no romance. There's no boyfriend.
okay.
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um. So he noticed that he went and spoke to the cook, and the cook says, "Well, one of the ladies are here. She's up in her room." Um, and he's like, "Oh, okay," because he was surprised. He didn't even know because when he walked in,
Hmm.
he's like, "Who's that? Who's that guy?" And he's like, "How is it that?" He was confused basically because he had no clue that they were already there. But the cook said, "Yeah, she I think believe she came
Right.
first. The other guy came right after, and they had been there for a while." And he's like, "I didn't even know that they were here." So he kind of like concierge. He's trying to be on his on his game, right? So he didn't know. He said that
Okay.
the dinner was cooked. The rest of the people came. They had like their little shopping bags and stuff. And the rest of the people came. The cook served dinner. He said that Shanquella was the last one to come to the dinner table. And he said the way that she came, it was like it's almost like the feeling when you're the third wheel at a dinner party,
Hmm.
I'm saying, like, you feel like that third wheel. It was kind of
Okay.
like the way he described it. That's the image that it gave me. Kind of like when you're not really welcomed, but you're like, okay, I'm just gonna get through this weekend. Like maybe at that point she was having second thoughts. But he said that she was very distant, and he said that she didn't really eat or anything, or she was very distant. It took a minute for her to kind of warm up and start to really socialize with the others. And I find that interesting. There's something going on there.
So that brings me that brings me to another question then. Were they all from the same social and economic and even theological circle? Did they all come from that
Yeah.
family, that village, or were they distant?
They all went to the same college in North Carolina. They all graduated from the same college. Um, but I feel like Shanquella was kind of like the successful one out of the group. But she's, if you really want to look at it like economic wise, I think she's probably better off than the other ones in the group. So that's where I said this starts to look a lot like jealousy. There's a lot of jealousy. That's what it looks
Was
like to me.
she the entrepreneur while everyone else were employees in their respective professions?
No, so Khalil Cook, her best friend, he has a clothing line. It sucked.
Okay.
It was it was horrible. But he has a clothing line. We're not going to go into how horrible the clothing line was, but he had a clothing line. Um, I would say between her and Khalil, I would say business wise,
And
I
the
think she
others?
was doing a
And
lot better. The others worked now. Yeah, they worked. They worked for other people. They were working in the profession. I think one was like a nurse or working in the medical field. Um, I can't remember what the other ones did, but they're working. They didn't have their own business or anything like that. Which, yeah, that's like a whole nother can of worms. But yeah, yeah, I could
but
understand.
she knew them though.
It, she knew. Oh yeah, they went to college together. They went to school together. That's as far as she did. They were
And
more
after
like
college,
Khalil's
how much?
friends. No, it doesn't seem like she
Right,
hung out
right.
with them much. Yeah, I don't think she did too much with them. It was just maybe
And
these
after the
vacation
what's
trips or something.
right? What was the time from the time they had finished college and then getting together, or were they infrequently, frequently coming together for different
That
events, different purposes from the time they left
yeah,
college?
from how I understand it, it's her and Khalil that was really doing stuff together, hanging out together, traveling together with her family. Um, I
Yeah,
believe she may have traveled with that group before. I'm not 100% sure on that though. Um, but it was never anything like she went and hung out with them like, she was friends or buddy buddy with the Dejanay or anything like that. She wasn't friends with them like that. They were literally acquaintances in every aspect of the word. They didn't they the only friend she
yeah.
had there or thought she had there was Khalil Cook. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think from the conversation with the sheriff, and I think the Department of Justice, because in two different countries, Mexico, United States, do you think that the same level of forensic oversight was provided in Mexico? Um,
Mhm.
Also, another component to that being they were tourists, and when tourists go on vacation, they can get a little rambunctious. Do you think the
Mhm.
same level of oversight was given to investigating the occurrence or the events that led up to her demise?
I think overall I think Mexico probably did a better job investigating than our than the US did. Now they did have some opportunities because they were the first to be able to do the autopsy. You're seeing everything, you know, right away, immediately. Um, they are the ones that I think at first they were because they lied and said that she was drunk and she drank too much alcohol, which is common for you're on vacation, you're partying, they're young. So I think that they figured like, okay, well, here she just drank herself to
Sure.
death.
Yep. Yep.
When they
Yep.
did the autopsy, they found out there was no alcohol in her system, no drugs in her
The,
system.
yeah.
And they
Well,
started
I
having
saw one
questions.
report saying that, yeah, and I saw one report saying that she had vomit coming out of her mouth, but where that where that does not hold water
Hmm.
based on the bruises on her arm,
Oh
which would
gosh.
indicate a
For sure.
struggle. You're going through brambles, you're fighting with someone, your clothes are being torn. There is counter uh,
It,
physical
so
pushing and shoving. And then I'm just looking for my notes to come back up. There was a vertebrae that was broken. I think it was
yeah.
C1 and 2. Your head moves, rotates, and goes up and down. You have to exert a lot of force for
Yes.
that damage to be done to the human body.
Right.
Um, so, from your knowledge, from your understanding,
What?
where did the
So
case go from there?
well, they videotaped her, Dejanay Jackson
Yeah,
beating
where
her.
where did the case go from there? From with that information being now available.
Well, yeah. So, did you see the videotape of her being beaten by Dejanay Jackson? I'm not
I
sure if you did.
saw. Oh, so one of them videotaped it.
Yes,
I
they
can hear you.
videotaped it.
I
Oh,
can hear
I'm
you.
sorry. Okay, hear me.
Yeah,
They
I can hear you.
videotaped it. Okay, good. They videotaped it and posted it on social media.
Yeah.
They so this is how wicked and
And who's
evil
and
this
who did
group
the
was.
videotaping? Who did? Yeah.
We believe that
And
it's
who did the
either
videotaping? One of the
I
girls,
think
one of the
most of
guys?
my no, it was the guys. It was Malik. It's between Malik and Khalil. So I believe that it was Khalil holding the camera. The and I believe it was Malik.
Hmm.
There's a part where Malik says, "Quilla, ain't you gonna fight back?" And she says no. And it just like it broke my heart hearing her say no. But I think she understood that if she fought back, it would be worse for her. And at this point,
Yes.
you're trying to survive. She's a brilliant girl. She's not, she's not stupid. She's a brilliant girl. And she to me, she understood that if I fight back, it's gonna be worse for me because that's gonna give them uh more reasoning to really be brutal to her. But this, I'm trying not to call people mean names, but Deja Jackson, that evil heifer. There's so many things I'm biting my tongue so much. She she's the one
Well, this is
who
this is
mhm, it's upsetting. She's the one who
Go ahead.
we believe she's the one
Um,
who broke her vertebrae.
was there any discovery as to why
Like the
the
reasoning behind it.
situation came about and or escalated?
You know, that's probably the most well, I can't say the most, but that's one of the most infuriating parts is the why. Why did they do this? Because when you look at it, when you pull it all together and you look at it,
Yep.
now you can see that it had to been planned on their end. Maybe not on her end. To her, she's just all right, cool. She got invited to another trip. She's gonna go. Why not? Um, but on their end, it seems
Yeah.
like it was very planned out because they were supposed to leave on Monday. They end up leaving the next day. They did this to her. Uh, what is it like Friday, Saturday, early Saturday morning? I'm I might be wrong on the days or whatever, but I know it's a 4 day span on the trip. And they after they did this to her, they left. They didn't even sleep at that hotel at the villa. They left and they got a hotel room at the airport and got the first plane out of there. They knew what, and that just like it comes out looking like they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing,
And
and
they
it's like they planned
chose
to do this to
and they
her.
chose right and they chose a country that they felt
That
would
couldn't do anything
accommodate their
right.
strategy. Did the coroner say
I'm sorry, you broke up. Okay, go ahead.
did the coroner say how long the body was yeah, did the coroner say how long the body was dead before it was actually discovered?
Oh, it did. I did, but it escapes me right now the exact time. The thing is, the maid when the maid came in to clean the villa, she's the one that said that Shanquella's body was already had rigor mortis. So, and I think they said that rigor mortis. So apparently rigor mortis comes and goes. Didn't know this. I learned this in this researching it. The
Okay.
rigor mortis comes in after. Gosh, I don't have the papers right in front of me, but apparently, like the body, when someone is unalived, about an hour, 45 minutes,
Yes.
hour, 2 hours later, rigor mortis kicks in and then it fades away. So that was, yeah. So
Okay.
I can't remember the exact, I don't want to steer you wrong, but I can't, it's in the files that I have, but I don't have them on me. But, yeah, they said the maid found her and she was stiff. So they were just, It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
So well, in terms of our discussion taking on this, not having perhaps as much detail of the actual occurrence, at the same time, relationships are tested, our social, economic, and I'll throw in theological perspectives and beliefs play significant roles in our behavior. We've seen this in the Roman Catholic Church. I did not know, going to school in England, that the institution that my parents believed in cultivated pedophiles, grown men over decades. And that was another reason why I accepted your offer to discuss this topic. It is not just the way that a human being is treated in the crime. More importantly, it's the society and the culture that
Yeah.
nourishes and allows that behavior to think that it can get away, that person to think they can get away with it.
Right. 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 And
So,
when you start to look
yeah,
into her case, I'm sorry. When you start to look into her case, you start to see a lot of interesting things, and it's just like to me, they really believed that they could get away with this. They really do believe. Now, legally, I can say maybe they've gotten away with it. We don't know. We're still fighting and hoping and praying, but they don't have a life anymore. That whole traveling, vacation, living it up is done. Honestly, like I wonder sometimes if they
why
were
is
able
that for those
to.
who are
Yeah,
suspect?
yeah, they're
Why?
not. They're yeah.
Why would they stop?
Oh, because North Carolina don't play that. North Carolina don't play that. They anytime they are spotted, they had I think it was Malik was spotted being a teacher at one of the schools. Oh, they shut that down. They got him out of there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Another one of the girls was spotted trying to go clubbing. They took care of that too. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
They know what they look like, and they're not playing with them because it would have been better
Right.
if they had just went to jail and did their time. People would have forgotten about it. People would have let it go because justice was served. But there's no justice, so people are angry.
Right.
We're not forgetting, and
So
it,
the so
she,
so there is a undercurrent of social responsibility and or um, I don't know if I'm going to use the word justice, because once you
mm,
rip someone's life away,
yeah,
there is no balancing, right? The pain is the
mm,
pain. You either learn to deal with the pain, or you succumb to the pain. I don't believe in the justice part of that
right,
conversation or that framing.
mhm,
Um,
yeah,
but it seems, and yet it sounds like in the community they have a way of ostracizing and ensuring that until they are satisfied, the community, which is nothing more than the legal system, 12 representatives
mhm,
of citizens that represent you in a court, until they're satisfied. Do you think that's the case in
mhm.
North Carolina?
I think so. I think that they would like to see them go to jail or be. See, Mexico wants them because Mexico has it as femicide, which is femicide is. I know some people said that femicide is like a lesser form of murder um, against a female. It doesn't hold the same weight as it does in America, but I'm not sure. I don't
Okay,
know the laws in Mexico, but basically, Mexico wants them. They want the whole Cabo Six.
sure.
I think they may have requested for one of them, and now they want all of them. But the thing is, pretty much our government is not moving forward with prosecution. So they're not handing anybody over. And this now goes into now this goes
Oh,
into
wow.
the racial injustice. Yeah, that's where the racial injustice comes from. The racial injustice doesn't because they're all black people, right? The Our
Right.
own people killed our own sister, you know? And it creates this anger, and it's hard. It's really hard to deal with when it's your own, you know? But
Well,
on top of that,
well,
that's one issue.
April. I'm going to inject. Yeah, but I'm going to interject here because of the implications that they're one of your own.
Mhm.
I
Well,
don't
not in that
subscribe
form.
to
Yeah,
that
yeah,
because
yeah.
exactly right.
Mhm,
The very obvious. Yet, even if we say it's obvious, the
mhm.
underlying current is just because we seem to look like each other, that we
Doesn't
are
mean we are. Yeah,
homogenous, and that's not the case
yeah.
at all,
No,
right? And that's because of colonization,
this is
right?
true. This is
Colonization,
true.
it would
Yeah.
separate us and separate, yeah, and separate even the Europeans, which we that's a whole other conversation. They
Mhm.
divide up whatever they have to in order to gain power and ownership of the resources, labor and raw
Right.
material. But
Right.
let's keep it on this topic. So now it's been only just over a year. Um,
Mhm.
there's no, what is the term when you sequester a person back to a country?
Extradite, extradition.
Extradition, right? So Mexico cannot force or request extradition.
They can request it, but they can't force them. So,
So there's no international extradition on the books, because that's where it
nope.
has to be for it to
Well,
be
yeah,
enforced.
Mexico did everything that they were supposed to do. I actually have
Yeah.
no complaints with Mexico. Mexico actually did everything that they were supposed to do. They're the ones who labeled it, femicide, and they're the ones who's like they're on the right path, right? Um, they did all their paperwork, sent it all in. They did everything. It's our country that this wanted to be special, I guess. Yeah,
And
yeah.
how are the
Mexico did
parents
everything right.
and how are the parents um, managing and
Well,
responding to
this is
this?
what I found was kind of sad. Like at first, I didn't. The father said he didn't even know she was on this trip until was it the Wednesday or something like he didn't even know that she had gone on this trip until he got the call that she was unalived. He didn't even know that
Okay.
she was in Mexico, right? Um, which leads me to conversations about the father always being last to know. Just sometimes not, it was a lot of times not a good thing. you know, um,
Right.
it's kind. My heart goes out to all. It's her mom, her dad, and her sister that she left behind, and
Okay.
my heart goes out to them because like it seems like she was the glue in their family. You have that one person in your family that's
Yep.
the glue.
Yep.
When they go, nothing's the same. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
make it worse. There's no justice, so they're hurting. They're hurting pretty bad.
So
Really sad.
what can we take away that begins to build? There's a term in the islands: buffalo skin, crocodile hide. Um,
Hmm.
or is it buffalo hide, crocodile skin? um, but what can we begin to learn and then adapt in our behavior and our thinking, more importantly our thinking, as we move through life and share these experiences without fear, being a fear monger
Hmm.
to our children, and at the same time building caution and perception
Yeah.
and that gut instinct that we seem to quarterback on a Monday.
Ooh. And that's challenging because, like I said, like my thing is really listening to your inner your instinct, following your instinct, even if even if you feel it's going to make you look stupid. I'd rather look stupid than not be here, you know. So
Yeah.
I know we're all guilty of it. We've all like, okay, well, I don't want to be the weird one that I'm now learning to embrace my weirdness. Embrace it. I I actually I probably, if I was invited out to a vacation somewhere with a group of friends, I probably wouldn't go. And it's not because I think I'm like, you know, like I got it like Shanquella did. It's just that because of what happened to Shanquella, it's opened my eyes. So it for me, it has scarred me where I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go. If I go on a vacation with somebody, it's somebody that's like it'd be my sister in Trinidad
Mhm.
and my daughter. We're going to South Korea. That's our plan.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I
I
think, and yeah,
No,
we're
go
on the
ahead.
same wavelength. I think for me, it's like I know we're on the same wavelength. I know everybody in my party very, very well. I gave
Yes.
birth to one of them, you know. so, so
Right.
for me, yeah, they're the only ones that I would trust in that situation. So I think that's what Shanquella, that's what the Shanquella case has
Does
done for me.
Yeah. Would you say before the case and now knowing what acquaintances and friends can do, were there any times that red flag, that gut instinct would have kicked in?
For me in my life, yeah, it has. I've been in situations where I started to feel that not to say that I would be unalived, just these people don't. They say they're your friends, but they really don't like you. They really don't. I've been in situations like that where I started feeling it, and I just slowly, like I say, I do the moonwalk, just slowly back out of there. But it's
So
never been
some
like I felt like I was in danger. It's just they don't have my back.
so something has already instilled that radar in you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I'm glad I asked you that question because at Pride Park College, the school I went to in England, you had
Hmm.
to develop your invisible shield around you.
Oh wow.
And what I learned, which I see it played out today, 60 plus years later, is that when someone asks you for something and you give it to them, everything is hunky dory.
Hmm.
If you don't give it to them, your mother and father are from hell. And what I learned was that instead of using it in a manipulative way, I used it to assess their intent,
Hmm.
their honesty of a relationship. So
Mm.
I don't believe in the concept of friends
Mhm.
because of these very occurrences that over time in families, at work, and in professional associations, fraternities, sororities, you name it, humans behave in inconsistent ways given any particular circumstance.
You know,
And so
mhm.
I'm very cautious with people. Yeah.
You said something that just piqued my interest, and it just and I thought about the relationship between Khalil and Shanquilla, right? What if, like, I used to play this
Yeah.
game called the What If, and I just random things. What if? What if he had asked her for something and she told him no, I can't do it, or and he
Right.
was upset about
Right.
that? I
Yep.
don't know. You said it, and it popped into my head. I wonder if that was his motive. You didn't give
Yep.
me, maybe all
And
along she was helping him along and doing stuff for him, but then now she's like, I can't do this, whatever.
right.
Wow.
And that is the maturity level response, or response at that maturity level and age, that you could definitely say, yes, that would happen. Because in high school and college, that's exactly how we behave. And I say we as a general population.
Yeah,
That's
that's
exactly how we
true.
behave. If you give it to me,
Yeah,
everything's fine. If you don't, your
everything's
mom
great.
and your dad are from hell. And so
Wow.
now, right, so now in our current social climate, where you can't disagree, otherwise you get a fist in your face or you get
Right,
shot, right? This is
right.
where we are. This is where we are.
Mm,
And so
that's
when you
sad.
enter into right, so when you enter into a conversation, it's almost like being in a business agreement. You have to have a non-disclosure agreement. You have to have, what is your intent? You have to say to the
Hmm.
person, what is your intent? Because before we get into a conversation and you don't like what I'm saying and you decide that you need to kill me, I need
Hmm.
to understand your maturity level. We call it emotional quotient. We call it intellectual observation and intellectual capacity to understand things. Yet, it is from the very top down, our leaders in corporations, in government, etc., and certainly and I'm going to say it, the Roman Catholic Church is an
Hmm.
institution that cultivates pedophiles. So,
Hmm.
so how can you then instruct your family, the nucleus, to be a healthy institution,
Right,
right?
right.
You can't.
Yeah,
There's no way that
can't.
you can. And it's not social media. It's
Mm-mm.
not social media, because here is a young lady who was very much had her head on her shoulders.
She did. Yeah,
She had her
she
head on
really
her
did.
shoulders. She's got
Yeah.
hair products. She's got a store. She's got fashion designs. She can enter into any room and discuss as an equity owner, as an equity partner,
Mhm.
and do business. So, um,
You know,
and
and I
that's
think
why I'm so glad you asked me to do this. Yeah,
mhm. Well, no, it just now you're saying my brain is like just firing off because I'm like, well, she was, I believe she was getting ready to start her own clothing line,
yeah,
which,
yeah, yeah,
Khalil Cook had his own clothing line he was trying to kick off. And so then
and
it
that's
goes
a
back, it
whole.
really is jealousy.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's I was in the rag trade when I first came here. I
Hmm.
did interior design for 9 years in New York. I
Hmm.
call it the gorilla city of existence.
Uh,
You know, and maybe, if I was a Tudor, I think it's called Tudor Square. The properties
mhm.
are like $10 million each. The dog house is $10 million.
Yeah.
We used to go out on Wednesday nights because that was garbage nights, and we would pick up
Hmm.
furniture that people would buy at regular stores that these homeowners, these big townhomes and palatial brownstones, they were just throwing out. And so I
Wow.
see, right. So I saw the disparity, and we've seen it in other court cases over time, where people feel life hasn't played out to their expectations, so they
Right.
need to destroy someone
Another
else's
person.
life, thinking that they'll get their life.
That now see now this explains Malik's I'm sorry, Khalil's motive. That definitely explains his motive to me. But
Yeah.
what the one that I'm confused about is Dejanay Jackson. Why would you beat her so brutally? What did she ever do to you? Like that, I don't. That is like $1 million question because I don't understand that one. They weren't friends. They
She
weren't. Mhm.
she represents a status. She represents a level of proficiency, professionalism, attainability. I say to immigrants when I get in front of talk with them, I say, nobody can tell you as an immigrant not to go after the American dream, even though it's elusive.
Mm, mhm.
You just can't tell another immigrant that. You
Right.
can show them
Right.
all the pitfalls. You can show them all the destructed families, the children, the husbands and wives going off in crazy relationships. They won't
Mhm.
believe it until it happens to them. And again, when we think of the age group, 20 to 30, I mean, we're the most non-developed creature on the planet.
That's true.
we,
That's
we take right. We take what is it? 9 months to gestate. We take 15 years, 20 years to get through education. We're coming back home at 30 years. God Almighty! Most animals have like
Yes.
a couple of minutes to get their shit together. Otherwise,
Getting
there's someone else's bowel movement.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
That's true.
it's what's going on in the background as society, because obviously family, we're introduced to family
Yeah.
first. That's our first impregnation of what we can and cannot do, and then
Yeah.
we seem to hone in to how to manipulate the husband and wife, mom, dad, or anyone else that's with us, or
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's supposed to be shepherding us.
Mhm.
So this is a very interesting, unpleasant story that
Mhm.
more and more younger entrepreneurs need to pay attention to,
Yeah. The
right?
jealousy. The
Jealousy,
jealousy.
the oldest um,
Mhm.
emotions
Yeah.
in the human lexicon of expressing inadequacy, of I want that. Um,
It
so
is, and the sad part is Shanquilla's story. It's just there's other cases that are similar that happened here in the U.S. and you just and you're not. It's baffling. It's baffling for me. It's like why can't you just okay? I like say I'm friends with Shanquilla. I'm like, oh, I marry this girl. She got her stuff together. Tell me what you did.
yes,
So
yes,
I could do
yeah,
it. Or you don't even have to tell me. My thing is not here. You don't want me doing nobody's hair, okay?
right,
I can do my own and my daughter's. That's it. But and I just don't have the passion for that. And I don't make me try to design clothes for nobody. It's gonna look weird. I'm gonna
right,
love it, but you probably won't, right?
right,
So
right.
that's not my thing. Everybody has their own unique talents and abilities. So why not discover what yours is and take the same model how she's outgoing, she's doing whatever she needs to do to get her business to pursue her passion. Instead of you taking that energy and being jealous of her, why don't you take that energy and apply it to bettering yourself, finding what you're passionate about? Maybe working
Here's
for somebody else isn't for you. I don't know. Like I don't know what they were that's how I think. And I know that the way I think, not everybody thinks that way. I think a lot of people would
here's a
agree that
response to that from oh, absolutely. No, and I don't want, and you're absolutely right, April. I don't want anyone else to think like me. I want fresh ideas in
right.
thinking, because now I've learned something. I can take that and learn it. But to your point, when you talked about jealousy, what is one of the oldest mediums in America and in England, probably across the world, that people watch every single day, and the whole focus is on a predatory behavior towards each other? Daytime
Is it
soap
social
operas.
media? Oh yeah. My grandma had me
Daytime
watching
soap
those.
operas. Yeah, yeah, I hate those. Like I could never stand.
Yeah.
Even in England, we had a thing called Coronation Street. We had All
Well,
in the Family,
I used to watch
and then over
EastEnders.
no, Till Death Do Us Part. I used to watch some of it, but it was so. And you know what? It's an insult to the crabs to say it was like crabs in a bucket.
Right. Yes. Yes.
It's,
Yes.
it's an insult to the crabs to say that we behave like crabs in a bucket, because we
Yes, it
do
is.
it and try to justify the carnage. You know,
Right.
we will
Right.
justify the con. Oh, well, I had to do this to your mom because society didn't give me what I wanted, or I didn't have the education, I didn't have the parents, I didn't have the tutelage. I had to kill my sister or brother because I wanted their share of the inheritance. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And daytime soap opera for the last, what, 50, 100 years that it's been on TV, that's all it focuses on.
Yeah, that's true. And it never
That's all it
ends.
focuses on.
I watch
It
K-dramas.
never ends. And they just bring up the next generation. Which one?
So like I watch K-drama. Now, the
Which
reason why I switched to watching the
what's
Korean
that?
dramas, Asian dramas, well, K-drama is Korean drama. Yeah.
What's the difference? What's the difference?
Oh no, but this is what I love about Korean dramas. They actually have a moral compass. It's not like
Oh,
I don't know. They actually have morals in there. And there's something you can
okay.
learn and walk away from in there. Yeah, I actually
Okay.
it's funny. I watched a Chinese drama and that encouraged me to read The Art of War. And I ended up buying 3 books of it.
Nice.
I don't know why I bought 3 books. Yeah.
I
But
have the
because
book up
the
there.
girl was yeah, the girl in the but it's crazy, but like they put things in there, and that's like my books. In my books, I try to
Yes.
put lessons in there. I try to weave those
Yes.
lessons in there. And that's what I like about Asian dramas. They do that, and it's like profound because when you're done
Yeah.
and it ends. That's the other thing. It tells a whole story and it ends. It doesn't go on
And it
forever.
ends.
Yeah,
So
and
so
I
this
love it.
so here's a plug. Here's a plug for April.
Mhm.
For those of you who don't know, those of you who listen to the show later and it's not live, April Thomas is a self-published author. She has some 20 books. She has what's called a shelf. In the publishing industry, it's called a shelf. When you have like 10 books, you've got a shelf. She has shelves of books that she's been successfully writing. So April, here's a plug, right?
Mhm.
I'm writing a book called 13 Behavioral Gambits, and I'd
Mhm.
love for you to help me with it.
Sure. I'll help you with it.
And because what you said about the Korean TV,
Mhm.
it's morals, it's ethics,
Yes.
it's scruples. It's when someone wants to take you down that dark, death and pain-ridden path of life. You have the self-efficacy, you have the chutzpah.
Yeah.
You have the galzones to say,
Yeah.
Mama told me not to come, not going
Yeah.
there. And
Yeah.
instead of what you said from the very beginning, I don't want to embarrass anybody. I don't want to, yeah, I'm going to insult you. I'm going to tell you you're full of it. I'm going to tell you what you're doing, what you want to do is wrong because you're taking away from somebody else. That's where we have to have more standards.
That's where we need to. Right.
Yeah, we need the standards.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
and I won't say about DT. I'm not going to talk about that. You told me not to talk about it, but it's coming out. But I said, no, stop.
No, that's a whole separate show. Yeah, because we throw down.
That's a whole week's worth of show. Yeah.
It's a very good point that you have in there, but I think that was really we should do that on a separate show because it needs its own show. It's a lot to talk about.
So what can we say in kind of wrapping up? It's almost time here. What can we say? What can we share to our audience? Because again, you write about building and securing families. You write about the intricacies of what relationships require. And my work is really on the front line where people are hurting. I'm working with many clients right now where one is watching, shall I say, not the right material, and the person has kids. I'm not going to say male or female. I'm just saying that's the situation I'm working with. Another one coming from a very spiritual perspective and finds
Mhm.
the onslaught of materialism a little too much. We
Mm.
have the typical male ego, narcissistic
Mhm.
behavior. I am
Mhm.
the right path, So what can you share, April, to our audience about tonight's program and what has happened to this
So,
young lady despite her best
so
efforts?
I, right, yes. So I've actually had a reviewer complain that, oh, they're talking about my first book, Endurance, my Endurance series, and said that, oh, the villain kind of got away with murder. Now the villain didn't really get away, but the book had ended, and in that book, the villain was still kind of free. And so I think about that when I think about Shanquella's case. It doesn't mean that it's over. It doesn't mean that they're really free. Just because we can't see what's all going on behind the scenes doesn't mean that they're getting away with it.
Yeah,
When you look at the Cabo Six, the life that they're living now, I'm sorry, but I would rather go to jail, or I'd rather just never do that, just not do that to somebody, and be free and enjoy my life and still travel and vacation. I'm
yeah,
sure they probably rethinking stuff now, but it's too late, you know. So back to my book, that's something that I like to just like it may like it didn't happen in book one, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen in book two. Like it's not over yet. So don't feel that we haven't gotten legal justice for Shanquella, but we are getting justice for Shanquella. We are getting justice for Shanquella. And like my grandmother used to say, God never sleeps.
yeah,
He
yeah,
never sleeps.
yeah.
Don't think he's being silent either, because we don't see what's really going on. There's a lot that we're not seeing. So, and it was Cat Williams who said, "This is a year that things are gonna be revealed," or "This is a year that karma's coming around this year." I agree with him on that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I feel that if we pay attention to our gut instincts, I'm a
Mhm.
very serious proponent of listening to my
Yeah.
ancestors.
Mhm.
They are physically gone. Their
Mhm.
spirit, their voices, their enunciation is very clear to me. I know I would not be here today. And not because I ran the streets in London with guns or I did drugs. It's a realization that anything could happen that could put you in a
Yeah.
very painful place. Um,
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for that. And I really appreciate this conversation. I really wasn't sure where it was going to go, even though I had
Right.
ideas. But I
Right.
think the message is, we need to sit down. We need to engage, not formally sit
Yeah.
down because kids don't want to do that, right? But we need
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
engage on meaningful levels so we can stop talking about, oh, I wish I shoulda, coulda, or they were the light of my life and now they're gone. If they're the light of your life, put in new friggin' batteries.
You got to keep it going. You got
You
to
know,
keep it going.
you
Yeah.
got to keep
Yeah.
it going. This is a
Yeah.
marathon. Life is a marathon. And to your point, April, um, to your point, um, it is the next generation that's important. We have
Mhm.
to teach them what it takes to get what they have so that they can sustain it.
That's true.
After the Second
Yeah.
World War, a lot of families wanted their kids to have life easy. No, no,
Mm.
wrong, totally wrong. Totally wrong. Because look at the
You
children
know,
today. They don't even know who they are.
yeah. But my thing is,
They don't.
I
And
I
they
think
don't know
things
what
are,
they don't value.
yeah. I mean, we're living in a time where things are going to get in some ways worse, in some ways better. But I guess that's just how it always is. And it's just learning to understand and recognize the differences.
I think so
So
too. Yes.
and instincts
Yes.
and
I agree.
discernment is very important to develop. And I say chase wisdom down.
Yes.
You got to hunt wisdom down and be a sponge. It's okay. It doesn't matter. I'm I'm at an age and I'm in college. Actually, I start Monday. and or go
Okay,
back money for my
congratulations.
last, yeah. And let me
What's
tell
the
you,
topic? What are you
I
studying?
think, well, actually I started with business, then I switched to where I was going to go for journalism. And then I switched from that, and now I'm pursuing film. So I'm being a typical college student. Jumping around. I'm really having that college life. But I
Good.
think I'm going to stick with film. Yes, it's something that I would love to take a lot of these self-published authors' books and turn them into movies, because I think self-published authors create some amazing stories, and I feel like the world is missing out on how amazing their stories are because they're so unique.
Well,
So,
Netflix is probably the only medium that allows a 7-minute movie,
oh
right?
wow. Hmm.
Yes, check
You
out
were telling
Netflix.
me
It's
about that. Okay, yes. Hmm.
yeah, Netflix
You were
and then
telling me.
Studio 32. Globally, all writers, producers, anybody in the arts who's producing
Okay.
visual, audio, everything. That's where you need to be,
Ooh,
because I joined it many
yes.
years ago, because I was producing my podcast and I thought it was just a good
Right.
medium. And you've got young people, old people, talent galore. So by all means, jump in there and you're
Studio
going to have fun.
Studio
Yeah.
32. I'm gonna write that in the comments for
Stage
anybody else.
32. Stage 32.
Oh,
Where's your pen? Where's your pen? Where's your pen?
I don't know, right? I put
You
it
got
in
to
the
have a
comments. I
pen.
don't know if that works.
Stage 32. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. There you go.
Okay.
Stage 32. Yeah, I was trying to go in the
Yes.
comments as well, but it said I had to sign in with my YouTube. All right.
Oh.
Well, we have to go, April.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's been an hour and 6 minutes.
Wow.
Good
It was fun.
conversation. Good
Yes.
conversation. I
Yes.
yeah, we're growing as well. I'm learning this stuff. And I
Yes.
shared
I'm
with you
going to
my
be
blog talk radio. This is much more fun.
this much more fun. For my viewers on YouTube, for my YouTube viewers, I am going to be speaking with other people concerning Shanquella because I like to get different perspectives, like I did here tonight with my co-host Ronald M. Allen. So stay tuned. We're going
Absolutely.
to be hearing. I mean, I'm glad that I got to speak with you on this topic because you enlightened me on something I didn't really put together, or something I didn't really deeply think about. So, there's a few things, but we'll be here for another hour if I talk about that. So, I'll
Oh,
save that for another show.
okay. Well, yeah.
So, I will.
Let's also tell people. April, you've got um, other topics. You said one topic you're looking to talk about next week. Note taking for your sanity, which is right up your
Oh,
alley as an author,
mhm,
publisher. Laughter is your path to healing.
mhm.
When you're traumatized, and then
Yep.
it generates certain hormones in the body. It gives the body, the spine especially, to relax. And then what is your
Yes.
intent of your theology? So many of us, and this is a topic I've always wanted to discuss in America, but everyone
Mhm.
says, oh, you can't talk about theology. What they're missing is the preempt discussion. What is our intent in
Mhm.
discussing theology? That's when you can
Mm.
arrest those what they call wild radical emotions in us and
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
have a constructive conversation.
I love it. And
Yeah.
like you said in our first
So
episode,
those are some
we may not
conversations
always agree, but
that
that's what's going to make this
April and
fun.
I will be having in the next 2 weeks. No, what was it? Mark Groucho Marx. I don't want to be invited to an organization that would have me, right? Something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Was that Groucho
Yeah.
Marx?
Scratch, I don't know. I'm not sure.
So I'm not sure either. It
Oh
sounded
gosh.
good, Groucho
Yeah,
Marx. I'm not sure.
sounds good.
April, thank you very much.
Thank
This is
you.
fantastic.
Thank you. And everybody, God
All
bless.
right.
Have a beautiful Friday. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.